Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoires. Welcome back to Pagan Tales. It's a new month, so we have a new focus all through the month of July in honor of the sign of Cancer, which is a cardinal water sign, and in the fact that it's so hot. And the best thing we can do is just lounge in the pool as much as possible. We are going to be focusing on deities associated with the sea, the ocean, the water element in general, and in both its literal and its spiritual prospects. And first on the list is Manannan. He is a Celtic sea god of the waves, storms, and fertility. He was known throughout Ireland. He had a counterpart in Wales. He's also known to be a guardian of the afterlife associated with the Isle of Avalon. His daughter Niama was known as a queen of Avalon. His son Bran the Blessed has the Cauldron of Regeneration, which is thought by many to be essentially the precursor of the Holy Grail. You see how all of these legends always go back to more ancient pagan roots. And also, the Isle of Man is actually named for Manannan, and there's still some customs that go back essentially honoring him and thanking him. They have a certain ceremony where essentially they bring him offerings, which is referred to as, paying the rent to him, as he is seen as essentially the patron of them. Even if people don't necessarily take that as seriously as they would have in past eras, the thought is still there. It can come back. So he has a few notable possessions. To begin with, as you might expect for a sea god, he has a sea-borne chariot with horses that draw it that also go through the water. He has a cloak of invisibility. He has impenetrable armor. He has an invincible sword called the Answerer. Any wound that a person took from the Answerer was beyond healing. It was fatal every single time. He had a helmet made of stone, and he owned some hogs that if you ate the hogs, they actually bestowed immortality upon the eaters. So you see kind of some interesting characteristics here. He was also known to be very benevolent. Unlike some sea deities that were known specifically for their harshness, for their whipping up storms, essentially just to be mean or to treat people a lesson, Manannan by contrast, was generally viewed to be a kindly guardian, more apt to be calming storming seas, safeguarding sailors in their boats, rather than be causing some kind of ruckus or seeking to punish people over any particular offense. And in myths, he was also frequently a deity who would aid others, whether they were gods or men, in their quests, as opposed to being necessarily the main character of various myths. The myths that I'm most familiar with regarding this particular deity was when he was married to the goddess Rhiannon and some of their misadventures. Correspondences to this particular deity include with the planets Neptune for obvious reasons, the element of water, and the tarot of the chariot, the color blue, again for very obvious reasons. The trees, the alder, the apple, and hazel. Now, the apple would be in reference to his links with the island of Avalon, and with hazel, that always has to do with wisdom. The fruit of blackberry, a miscellaneous plant reed, which makes sense because reeds grow across watery places. The crystals, azurite and turquoise, metals, gold and silver. From the sea, the conch shell specifically, but I think any kind of shell you could really link with him. The birds, the crane and the swan. Animals, boars, cattle, hogs, pigs, horses, marine life, dolphins, seahorse, whales. And again, those are specifically any kind of sea life I think you could reasonably tie to this god. And magically mermaids, but I think also undines and selkies and, beings of that sort. Now, for offerings for Manannan, reeds, meadow grasses, yellow flowers, seafood, seashells, music played by harps or other stringed instruments, those would be ways of reaching out to him. So those are just a few of the basics on Manannan. Again, he's not really the main character, if you will, of most of the myths, so there isn't a lot that's specifically focused upon him. He just control, but he's never the main focus, which is why this particular video is a little bit briefer than what I would have otherwise preferred. But by all means, if you live near a big body of water, especially the ocean, but even if it's a big lake or a river or a stream, this might be a god that you might see fit to reach out to during this particular season. See if you can get to know him at all. Obviously I'm in landlocked Missouri, so I'm figuring that my odds of contacting him are pretty small. But still, I intend to give it a bit of a try and just see what I can come up with. But if you do have any experiences with this particular deity, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. If you're intending to reach out to him, I would also really love to hear about that. And I'd be interested in, what kind of experiences that people have had with him, because I think he's a deity that I think would benefit from more of our attention. But that is what I have for you on Manannan MacLear. Next week, we are going to be talking about the goddess of Aphrodite, because remember, she was born of the ocean itself. And so even though she isn't necessarily thought as a goddess of the sea, she has that very strong elemental link of water. And so we're going to be talking about her and what that means for the emotional realm and all this and that. So come back for that. And then after that, we'll be talking about Poseidon, and then Coventina, and then the god Njord. So we're going to be drawing from multiple pantheons this time. So I hope you enjoy the journey to come. And also, above all, it is July. It is brutally hot. I hope you are staying cool. So best of luck with that, everyone. Again, anytime you have a chance to go swimming, definitely do that. And if you want to, leave a little offering for the gods while you're at it. But that'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.